Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here as always to sift through those sources you send us, pull out the key stuff, and basically give you the quick version so you're informed. Today, we're really getting into something that's, well, everywhere. Alcohol. It's so normalized, even glamorized, that sometimes the real dangers kind of get lost in the noise. So our mission today is to look past that shiny surface. We want to quickly pull out the essential knowledge about how alcohol physically, socially, even spiritually can seriously derail things, and then figure out some real steps for choosing clarity instead. Okay, but before we really jump in, just a quick reminder, make sure you're checking out Mind Expansion Daily. You'll find loads of great info there, just like what we're covering today. And hey, if you like what we do here, breaking down these topics, please hit that like button and subscribe. Seriously, clicking like makes a huge difference with the algorithm, helps us reach more people worldwide. Also, if you find this stuff valuable, maybe consider buying us a coffee. There's a link right in the description. Honestly, every bit helps us keep this analysis going. Thanks for considering it.
All right, let's get into it. This whole idea of deception, the sources really highlight how alcohol is just baked into our culture, right? It's the go-to for celebrations, success, winding down. You see it constantly, the corporate mixer, the wedding toast, those movie scenes where it looks all sophisticated. It's got this glossy veneer, like you have to drink to belong.
That veneer, yeah, that's exactly what needs cracking. Because underneath it all, the reality is it's a major public health issue. I mean, the sources lay it out pretty clearly. Globally, alcohol is tied to about 5.3% of all deaths. And it's linked to, get this, over 200 different health conditions. When something's that common but carries that much risk, you really have to start asking critical questions. It's not just about choosing not to drink. It's about protecting yourself, your own clarity.
Wow. 200 health conditions. Yeah, that's a huge number. You often hear those counter arguments, though, about moderate drinking, right? Like a glass of red wine is good for your heart, that kind of thing.
No.
Do the sources touch on that?
They do, and they pretty much push back hard against that idea of healthy moderation. This is actually a key insight. The National Cancer Institute is cited, and they flat out call alcohol a known carcinogen. And here's the kicker. The risk isn't just for people who drink heavily. The sources stress that even one drink a day can raise your risk for several cancers: mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, and especially breast cancer. That really flies in the face of the popular idea that a little bit is harmless or even beneficial.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that definitely reframes things. If even minimal drinking bumps up cancer risk, the whole equation changes.
Yeah.
So beyond cancer, what about the more, let's say, classic chronic harms, like liver damage?
Oh, absolutely. Long-term use does a number on the body, especially the liver. And it's often a slow burn. It starts with things like fatty liver, maybe moves to hepatitis, and then the end stage can be cirrhosis. That's where healthy liver tissue gets replaced by scar tissue. Basically, it hardens up and stops working right.
Like it can't filter anymore.
Exactly. Think of it turning from this amazing filter into something, well, stiff and useless. And the heart doesn't get off easy either. While there might have been some older claims about minor benefits, the sources today mostly agree. Heavy drinking, or even binge drinking, seriously increases your risk for high blood pressure, heart failure, stroke, the big ones.
Right, and didn't the sources mention something specific about older people, how even small amounts can cause problems because of medications and things?
Precisely. That example of the 81-year-old visitor from Portugal really drives it home. Age changes how we process things. Your liver isn't as efficient, metabolism slows down, and many older adults are on unnecessary medications. Alcohol can mess with how those drugs work, either making them toxic or stopping them from working at all. For someone elderly, that interaction could be incredibly dangerous, piling on top of existing age-related issues like a weaker immune system. It's not just about long-term abuse, it's about immediate vulnerability too.
So it breaks down the body's systems. What about the mind, the brain? How does it impact our thinking, our clarity? This seems central to that whole deception theme.
Yeah, the mental impact is huge, and it flows right from the physical. You mentioned anxiety earlier, that awful anxiety or low mood the day after drinking. That's not just feeling guilty, it's actual brain chemistry. Alcohol messes with your neurotransmitters like GABA, which usually calms things down. When the alcohol wears off, the brain kind of rebounds, overcorrects, and you get this flood of anxiety and stress hormones.
Okay, so it's a physical reaction causing the mental distress.
Exactly. And then there are blackouts. Those aren't trivial. Losing chunks of memory is a serious warning sign of potential neurological harm. It chips away at your self-trust, your feeling of being in control. It's a vicious cycle.
And I imagine that feeling of losing control, that instability, must spill over into relationships pretty quickly.
Absolutely. That's the next layer. Socially, heavy drinking causes so much friction. arguments, broken promises, neglecting responsibilities, and in worst cases, it can fuel abusive behavior.
Wasn't there a specific story in the sources about that? The friend's father.
Yes, and that anecdote really hits home, doesn't it? Her father's drinking meant he missed important family moments, birthdays, graduations, things you can't get back. That caused deep, lasting resentment. Trust just evaporates. It shows how the damage isn't just to the drinker. It ripples outwards, affecting the whole family. And that's before you even get to the other costs mentioned: financial problems, losing jobs, legal trouble from bad decisions. It can tear a family apart financially and emotionally.
That focus on the lasting damage, the wider impact. It leads us naturally to the spiritual angle presented in the sources. This view sees alcohol as more than just a health risk.
Right. The Islamic perspective that was discussed views alcohol as explicitly forbidden haram. And the reasoning given is precisely because of its power to cloud judgment, weaken your resolve, and basically lead you astray from a purposeful life.
It's seen as an obstacle to spiritual clarity.
Exactly. The Quranic verse mentioned, 590, is very direct. It groups intoxicants with gambling and other things as defilement from the work of Satan, urging people to avoid it to be successful. So from this viewpoint, saying no to alcohol isn't just about health, it's about maintaining a clear connection to your values and purpose. It's a spiritual discipline.
And there was that hadith, too, reinforcing it even more strongly.
Yes. The saying attributed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, alcohol is the mother of all evils, and it is the most shameful of evils. That's powerful framing. It positions resistance not just as a health choice, but as a fundamental test of character and commitment to living right.
That spiritual weight really underscores the need to be vigilant, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you think about that other example, the real-life wake-up call. The story of the person who seemed to have it all: rising star, career, family, and then lost everything to dependency. It shows just how quickly alcohol's grip can tighten and pull everything down.
It really does. And that potential for such a complete collapse is why having practical strategies for resistors is so crucial. The sources offered some really concrete ones. We can kind of group them into a few key areas. Okay, first up, know your triggers. This means figuring out when you're most tempted. Is it stress after work, certain social circles, big parties? Once you know the trigger, you can plan your response ahead of time. Having a simple go-to phrase ready, like, no thanks, I'm good with water tonight, or I'm sticking to mocktails, just takes the decision-making pressure off in the moment.
Right. Preempt the internal debate. What about the habit itself? Drinking is often just routine.
That's the second point. Replace habits. You can't just remove something. You often need to put something else in its place. Find healthier alternatives that give you a similar feeling or meet the same need. This isn't just about switching to soda. It could be taking up exercise, diving into a hobby, maybe hosting game nights that don't revolve around alcohol, or even becoming a connoisseur of interesting non-alcoholic drinks. The key is redirecting that energy.
Makes sense. And community support seemed really important in the sources too, along with just knowing the facts.
Definitely. Which brings us to points 3 and 4. Third, seek support. Tell supportive friends and family what you're doing. Let them be your allies. This ties into that Islamic idea of the ummah, the community, being there to help each other stick to the right path. Having people who back your choice makes a massive difference. And fourth, educate yourself. Keep learning about the risks. Use resources like the CDC fact sheets mentioned. Understanding how alcohol actually affects your brain and body, like the GABA stuff we talked about, makes the danger less abstract. It really strengthens your resolve for, well, clarity over chaos.
And of course, for people who are already struggling, who feel caught, there's professional help.
Absolutely essential. That's the final piece. Professional help. For anyone facing dependency, resources like Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, offer invaluable structure and peer support. And hotlines like SAMHSA's 1-800-662-HLLP provide immediate confidential help. Reaching out is critical.
It really feels like there's a communal aspect to this too. Like that idea from Surah Al-Azur about advising each other toward good. Seeing someone succeed can be really powerful. Like that friend mentioned in the sources who quit drinking and then poured all that energy back into their art. That kind of positive story gives hope and shows what's possible.
Exactly. When you pull together everything from these sources, the picture's pretty clear. The dangers of alcohol, physical, mental, social, spiritual, they're real, they're serious, and they're widespread. Making a conscious choice to resist, to prioritize clarity, seems essential for a truly fulfilling life.
So we've unpacked a lot here. Summarize some powerful arguments from the sources about the risks and how to push back, challenging a lot of cultural assumptions. Now, we want to hear from you. Leave us a comment. Do you agree with this summary? Do these insights ring true for you, or do you see it differently? And also, let us know where you're listening from. We're always curious to see how far these deep dives are reaching around the globe. Our goal is definitely worldwide reach.
Yeah, and maybe one final thought to leave you with. Considering everything we've discussed, the health toll, the mental fog, the fractured relationships, the spiritual concerns, how can we as a society get better at seeing past the cultural glamour of alcohol to recognize its true cost? How do we separate the symbol from the substance? We really hope you choose clarity over chaos.